What I'm about to share with you may shock you, but it's the truth you need to hear. You're not watching this video by accident. God has led you here because something significant is happening in your life. A major shift is coming. Those who doubted you, underestimated you, or betrayed you are now witnessing the price of how they treated you. Let me be clear. You are no longer the person you used to be. You have endured trials, pain, and betrayal, and now you are being elevated. This isn't just karma. This is an awakening. But before we go deeper into this, I want you to do 3 things right now. Hit the like button because you know this message is for you. Subscribe to the channel because this journey isn't just for you, but for those who need to hear this truth. Comment the number 99 to send a signal that you are ready to step into your season of transformation. If you are truly one of the chosen ones, you will watch until the end, because deep down you know this is the message you need. Now, let's uncover the truth. They are witnessing the price of how they treated you. They thought you would always stay the same. They believed their words, their doubts, their dismissals would break you. But now something has shifted. They are starting to realize what they never saw before. The weight of their actions, the consequences of their treatment, the truth of who you really are. For so long, you endured the whispers, the silent judgments, the outright betrayals. They questioned your worth, overlooked your potential, and treated you like you didn't matter. But what they failed to understand is that you were never meant to fit into their small expectations. You were always set apart, always chosen for something greater. Now they see it. The same people who doubted you, who walked away, who dismissed your dreams, they are watching as everything begins to shift in your favor. And it's not luck. It's not coincidence. This is divine timing. This is your season of elevation. At first, they won't want to admit it. They'll act like nothing has changed, but deep inside, they feel it. They see the way you carry yourself differently, the confidence in your steps, the fire in your spirit. You are no longer seeking validation. You are no longer shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And that unsettles them, because when you stop living for their approval, you become something they can no longer control. This isn't about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about stepping fully into who you were always meant to be. The weight of the past is no longer yours to carry. You are not the same person who once tolerated their mistreatment. You have grown, evolved, and risen above every attempt to break you. The energy around you has changed. You can feel it. There is a shift happening in your life that even your enemies cannot ignore. The doors that were once closed are now opening. The things that once felt impossible are now within reach. You are aligning with the purpose God has set for you, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. Some will come back, pretending they never doubted you. They will try to reconnect, act as if they always believed in you. But you know better. You remember who they were when you had nothing. You remember how they treated you when they thought you wouldn't make it. And while you hold no bitterness, you also have no desire to shrink yourself again to make space for them. Because here's the truth. This journey was never about them. It was always about you becoming who you were created to be. Their rejection, it was redirection. Their doubts, they only fueled your determination. Their betrayal, it only pushed you closer to the destiny God had prepared for you. Now they see the price of their actions. They underestimated you, and now they can't ignore what you've become. But you don't need their recognition. You don't need their apology. You only need to keep walking forward. Because what God has for you will not be stopped by their opinions, their regrets, or their sudden change of heart. This is your time. This is your season. And no matter what they think, nothing will ever be the same again. They never expected you to rise. They thought their absence, their doubts, and their betrayal would break you beyond repair. But instead, you grew. Every wound became wisdom. Every rejection became redirection. Every setback became the foundation for something greater. What they don't realize is that their mistreatment was never about you. It was always about them. Their inability to see your worth was a reflection of their own insecurities. Their betrayal was a sign of their weakness, not yours. They projected their fears onto you, hoping you would believe them, but you didn't. You refused to stay where they left you, and now they see it. the strength in your eyes, the resilience in your steps, the unwavering confidence in your spirit. You are no longer the person they once overlooked. You have stepped into the power that was always meant for you, and that is what unsettles them the most. They wanted you to doubt yourself, to question your path, to believe you weren't enough. But here you are, standing taller than ever, walking in divine favor, no longer seeking approval. And now, they are left to face the consequences of their choices. For so long, they treated your kindness as weakness. They assumed your patience meant you would always wait. But you are no longer waiting. You are no longer asking for permission to be who God created you to be. And that shift is something they can't ignore. They underestimated you. They misjudged your strength. And now, as they watch you rise, they are forced to acknowledge what they refused to see before. You were never ordinary. You were always destined for more. Some will pretend nothing happened. They will act as if they never doubted you, never walked away. But you remember. You remember the silence when you needed support. You remember the looks of doubt when you shared your dreams. You remember the betrayal when you were at your lowest. And while you carry no resentment, you also carry no space for them in this new season. This is what happens when God elevates the chosen. It is not about proving anyone wrong. It is about walking in the truth of who you are, without fear, without hesitation, without needing validation. Because at the end of the day, this journey was never about them. It was always about you stepping into your purpose, despite the obstacles, despite the pain, despite those who tried to hold you back. And now, nothing will ever be the same again. They thought you would stay where they left you. They assumed that after all the doubt, all the rejection, all the setbacks, you would crumble under the weight of it. But they never understood who you really are. They never saw the fire inside you, the strength God placed within you before you even knew it yourself. What they did not realize is that every time they pushed you down, you learned how to stand stronger. Every time they dismissed you, you built yourself up. Every moment they tried to break you, God was molding you into something far greater than they could ever imagine. And now, as they watch, they are beginning to understand that you were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to live within the limits they placed on you. They are uncomfortable now. They don't know how to handle this version of you, the one who no longer seeks their validation, the one who no longer lowers themselves just to fit in. They see the transformation, and it terrifies them. Not because you have changed, but because they never expected you to realize your worth. And now they are left to deal with the weight of their choices. The words they spoke against you, the ways they dismissed you, the times they made you feel like you weren't enough. They didn't see the seeds they were planting. Seeds that would grow into strength, resilience, and an unstoppable spirit. This is the reality of what happens when the chosen ones finally step into their power. The ones who doubted you now wish they had believed in you. The ones who left you behind now wish they had stood by your side. And the ones who tried to break you, they are now watching as you rise, unstoppable, unshaken, untouchable. But you don't need their recognition. You don't need their approval. Because you have finally realized that their opinions never defined you. Their betrayal did not shape you. Their absence only made space for something greater. There was a time when their rejection hurt, when the silence was louder than words, when their disbelief made you wonder if maybe, just maybe, they were right. But that time is gone. You have walked through the fire. You have faced the storms. And now you emerge not as a victim of their actions, but as a warrior forged in the very trials they put you through. Some will try to return. They will act as if nothing happened, as if they always saw your potential. But you remember who was there when you had nothing. You remember the ones who stood by you when times were hard. And you also remember those who disappeared the moment you needed them most. This is not about holding grudges. This is about knowing who truly deserves access to your new season. Not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you. Not everyone who doubted you deserves to celebrate your success. And that is not bitterness, it is wisdom. Because the truth is, you no longer have space for those who only support you when it benefits them. You no longer have time for those who only see your value after the world starts recognizing it. You are not living for their approval. You are not waiting for their apology. You are moving forward with or without them. They see it now. The strength they overlooked. The resilience they underestimated. The power they tried to contain. And it is too late for them to change the past. What they did, what they said, how they treated you, it all has consequences. And now, they must sit with the reality that you did not need them to become great. You were never small. You were never meant to blend in. You were always chosen. And now the world sees it. Now, even those who doubted you cannot deny it. This is your time. Not for revenge, not for validation, but for purpose. For stepping fully into the destiny that was always yours. And as you walk forward, head high, heart strong, let them watch. Let them see what happens when someone refuses to be broken, refuses to stay silent, refuses to shrink. Let them witness the power of the chosen. Because what God has for you will never be taken away. And no matter how much they wish they could undo the past, nothing will ever be the same again. They thought their absence would break you. They believed their rejection would silence you. They assumed that without their support, without their approval, you would fade away, lost in the weight of your own struggles. But what they failed to realize is that God had already written your victory long before they ever doubted you. They see it now. The strength they overlooked, the fire they ignored, the resilience they never thought you had. And it shakes them to their core. Not because you've changed, but because you have finally stepped into the truth of who you were meant to be. They are witnessing something they never expected, a transformation they cannot control. You are no longer the person who tolerated their mistreatment. You are no longer waiting for them to recognize your worth. You know who you are now, and that changes everything. At first, they will try to deny it. They will pretend they don't see the glow of confidence in your eyes. They will act like your success doesn't affect them. But deep inside, they feel it. They know the same person they dismissed is now standing in a place they never thought possible. And they can't ignore it anymore. They miscalculated. They thought if they turned their backs on you, you would crumble. Instead, you grew. You didn't just survive, you thrived. Every insult, every betrayal, every doubt they cast upon you became the fuel that propelled you forward. And now, they watch in silence, realizing the truth they refused to believe. You were always destined for more. But here's what they don't understand: you never needed them to begin with. Yes, their rejection hurt. Yes, their betrayal cut deep. But ultimately, their absence only made room for God to move in ways they never could. You see, your journey was never dependent on their support. Your destiny was never in their hands. And now, as you rise, you do so not because of them, but in spite of them. Some will try to return. They will reach out, pretending nothing ever happened. They will try to rewrite the past, acting as if they always believed in you. But you remember. You remember how they treated you when they thought you were going nowhere. You remember how easily they walked away when you needed them most. And while you hold no bitterness, you also hold no space for them in your future. Because this next chapter is different. This next chapter is built on strength, on clarity, on a divine understanding that not everyone is meant to go where you are going. They underestimated the power of the chosen. They underestimated what happens when someone refuses to stay in the mold others place them in. And now, as they watch you step fully into your destiny, they are forced to face the reality of their actions. This is not about revenge. This is not about proving them wrong. This is about proving to yourself that you were always enough, that you never needed their approval to succeed, that everything they said you couldn't do, everything they doubted, was never a reflection of you. It was a reflection of them. Now, as you walk forward, there is no looking back. The weight of their words, their doubts, their rejection, none of it holds power over you anymore. You are moving forward, not because you want to show them what they missed, but because you finally see what God always saw in you. And as they stand there watching, they are left with a simple truth. They doubted you, they betrayed you, they underestimated you, and now they are forced to watch as you rise beyond anything they ever imagined. This is your time. This is your season. And nothing will ever be the same again. They thought you needed them. They thought without their approval, their validation, their presence, you would never find your way. But now, as they watch from a distance, They are realizing you were never meant to stay beneath them. You were meant to rise above. They doubted you, but their doubt did not define you. They walked away, but their absence did not destroy you. Every time they turned their backs, every time they dismissed your worth, they only made space for something greater. And now, as you walk in your purpose, they are left to face the truth they tried to ignore. You were always meant to be more. There was a time when their words held power over you, when their rejection made you question your worth, when their betrayal made you wonder if maybe, just maybe, they were right about you. But those days are over. You no longer carry the weight of their opinions. You no longer shrink yourself to fit their expectations. Because what they didn't realize is that you were never seeking their approval. You were seeking your purpose. And now, as you step fully into the life God has prepared for you, they see that their words, their doubts, their rejection, none of it had the power to stop what God had already set in motion. At first, they won't admit it. They will pretend not to see the way your life is shifting, the way you carry yourself differently, the confidence in your presence. But deep inside, they feel it. They know they misjudged you. They know they underestimated the strength you carry, the resilience you built, the fire that never stopped burning inside you. And now, they must sit with the realization that they were never the reason for your success. They were never the foundation of your strength. They thought they had the power to define your limits, but God was the only one writing your story. Some will try to come back. They will reach out with words of support, acting as if they always believed in you. They will try to align themselves with your success, hoping to be part of what they once doubted. But you remember the silence when you needed encouragement. You remember the disbelief when you shared your dreams. You remember the way they treated you when they thought you would never rise. And while you hold no resentment, you have learned an important lesson. Not everyone deserves access to your future. Not everyone who was there at the beginning is meant to be there at the end. Some people were only meant to be part of your story to teach you, to challenge you, to push you towards your destiny, but they were never meant to stay. This next chapter of your life is different. It is not built on seeking approval. It is not built on proving anything to those who left. It is built on purpose, on clarity, on divine alignment, because now you know who you are. Now you understand why you had to go through the struggles, the rejection, the loneliness. Every hardship was preparation. Every closed door was protection. Every betrayal was redirection. And now you stand stronger, wiser, and ready for everything that is ahead. They see it, they feel it, and deep inside, they know they were wrong about you. But the truth is, their recognition is no longer needed. Their validation no longer holds weight, because you have stepped into the truth of who you were meant to be, and nothing they say, nothing they do, nothing they regret can change the fact that you have already won. This is not just a new season, this is a new identity, a new strength, a new power that no one can take away from you. And as they watch, as they sit in the reality of their own choices, they will realize the one thing they never wanted to admit. You never needed them to become great. You were always chosen, and nothing will ever be the same again. They never thought this moment would come. They never believed that the one they overlooked, the one they doubted, the one they cast aside, would be the one they could never ignore. But now, as they watch, they feel the weight of every choice they made, every moment they underestimated you, every time they assumed you would never rise. They used to whisper behind your back. They used to mock your dreams, belittle your ambitions, dismiss your struggles. They thought you were too weak to stand on your own, too lost to find your way without them. But what they didn't realize is that you were never weak. You were waiting for the right time, the right moment, the right season for your breakthrough. And now that season has come. At first, they will try to act like they never doubted you. They will pretend they always supported you. But deep inside, they know the truth. They remember the moments they walked away. They remember the times they spoke against you, laughed at your struggles, celebrated your failures. And now, as you step fully into your power, they are left to wonder what would have happened if they had stood by you instead of against you. They see it now, the strength in your steps, the fire in your spirit, the unwavering confidence that radiates from you. You have become everything they never expected. But this was never about proving them wrong. This was never about making them regret their choices. This was always about stepping into what God had prepared for you. Because what they don't understand is that every time they rejected you, God was redirecting you. Every time they spoke against you, God was speaking purpose into your life. Every door they closed, every opportunity they denied you, God was using it to lead you to something greater. And now the tables have turned. They used to look down on you, but now they look up in disbelief. They used to laugh at your failures, but now they are silent in your success. They used to think you needed them, but now they realize you never did. Some will try to come back. They will try to act as if they always believed in you, as if they were always in your corner. But you remember who left and who stayed. You remember who doubted and who encouraged. And while you hold no hatred in your heart, you have learned one of the greatest lessons of all. Not everyone deserves to walk with you into your new season, because this time you are not carrying dead weight. You are not dragging people along who never saw your value. You are not wasting your energy trying to convince those who refuse to believe in you. This time you are walking boldly, without hesitation, without apology. They see the shift. They feel it in the air. The energy around you is different. You are not just successful, you are transformed. And that transformation is something they can never take away from you. They used to think their rejection would break you, but instead it built you. They thought their silence would make you give up, but instead it taught you to stand alone. They thought their absence would leave you lost, but instead it made you find yourself. And now they have no choice but to face the truth. They did not break you. They built you, and as they sit in the reality of their own choices, you walk forward. Not with bitterness, not with regret, but with unshakable certainty that everything that happened was part of God's perfect plan. Because this is your moment. This is your time. This is the season where everything changes. And nothing, not their doubts, not their regrets, not even their sudden change of heart, will ever take that away from you. You were always chosen. You were always meant to rise. And now they see it. They feel it now, the weight of their decisions, the reality of what they lost. They may not say it out loud, but deep inside, they know they were wrong about you. They see the strength in your steps, the unwavering confidence in your presence, the undeniable glow of someone who has stepped fully into their purpose. And that is what shakes them the most, because you are no longer the person they left behind. You are no longer seeking their validation, no longer waiting for their approval, no longer carrying the weight of their rejection. You have stepped into something greater, something unshakable, something divine. They thought their absence would break you. They thought their doubt would destroy you. They thought their betrayal would leave you lost. But now they see the truth. You did not break. You did not fall. You did not give up. You kept walking, kept believing, kept pushing forward when everything was against you. And now, as they look at you, they see what they never expected. You have risen. At first, they may try to convince themselves that nothing has changed. They may act as if your success does not affect them. But deep inside, they feel the shift. They feel the weight of the distance between where you are and where they are. And they know they can no longer reach you. Some will regret it. Some will wish they had treated you differently. Some will try to return, hoping to reclaim a place in your life. But you have outgrown the version of yourself that once sought their acceptance. You no longer fit into the spaces they tried to keep you in. Because this journey was never about them. It was always about you stepping into who God created you to be. And now you see it so clearly. Their rejection was your redirection. Their absence made room for something greater. Their betrayal was never a loss. It was a release. You didn't lose anything. You gained clarity. You gained strength. You gained the freedom to walk into your purpose without chains. And that is something they can never take away from you. They will try to understand how you made it without them. They will wonder how you kept going when they assumed you would fall apart. But what they fail to realize is that you were never walking alone. God was with you the entire time. When they doubted you, He was strengthening you. When they left you, He was guiding you. When they tried to break you, He was building you. And now, as they look at you standing in the fullness of your purpose, they realize something they never expected. They never had the power to stop what God had already ordained. This time, there is no going back. This time, there is no returning to the past. This time, you are not looking over your shoulder, not questioning your worth, not waiting for anyone to see what you have always known. Because you know who you are now. You know why you had to go through every trial, every betrayal, every lonely night. It was all part of the preparation. It was all leading you to this moment. And now, as you move forward, as you embrace the destiny that has always been yours, they can only watch from a distance. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them feel the weight of what they lost. Because this time, you are walking with a power they can never take from you. This time, you are stepping fully into the life God has prepared for you. And now, nothing will ever be the same again. Thank you truly for being here, for listening, for walking this journey with us. Every message we share is for the chosen ones, those who have endured, those who have been tested, and those who are now stepping into the purpose God has prepared for them. We are committed to bringing truth, encouragement, and strength to those who need it most. If this message spoke to you, subscribe and stay with us. You are not alone. We are walking this path together, and God is leading the way. May He bless you, strengthen you, and remind you every day that you were chosen for something greater. Keep going. Keep believing. Your best days are ahead.